Hello and welcome to another Battleforge PvP replay. Today I'm back with one of the tournament games from the Skylords Reborn Championship from August. This is the fourth try, I think, where I try to get this recording done. I had a lot of issues with my old microphone, therefore I had to do this recording quite a few times. But I hope, since I got a new headset right now, that everything should work again and we can finally get into this game, which was one of the best games of the tournament, in my opinion. It was really exciting and close. It was between Killbuster and Fodasseman. Those two players were starting with Fire and Shadow, so a basic matchup on Haladur. Which was part of the best of 3 series that those players had to play. I think it ended up 2-1 in the end, so it was also pretty close overall. So basic start: Forsaken, Sunstrider, Charger, Scavenger, and by now this Scavenger tries to get into the back line, picking off his Dazed Forsaken squad, but is a little bit late on the run here, trying to get an angle to those Forsaken. But yeah, these guys came out of daze, and these ones ended up getting out of daze too. So Fodasseman gets to frenzy those ones to get rid of the thugs, and therefore wins this early engagement very convincingly. So these ones are gonna die because of the frenzy, but there's still 2 Forsaken left, and overall the amount of power being spent is pretty equal with right now it's like 2 units against 2 units, and Fodasseman still has a lot less power spent in this early skirmish. So pretty good position, and Haladur is very dangerous. Another try to get a Dazed Forsaken squad out of the mix, and this Scavenger in the end survived because these guys were running away, but still very convincing position here. And if Fodasseman takes a power well over here, he has complete map control, so this is a very commanding lead and a super strong position in the early game. Which could be considered like almost game over in a lot of games. And I thought at this point in time that this game is about to be over, honestly. But yeah, things turned out a little bit differently, and we can see thugs coming into the mix here. So Killbuster trying to get some units into the mix. It's good to have more than 1 or 2 thugs on the ground in the engagement, or at least like more units, because at that point it will be very hard to kite those thugs, and therefore they get into combat with the Forsaken, with the Skeleton Warriors that are played to counter them a little bit. But it's very important to have those ones in combat, the thugs here, because they generate a lot of power through the looter. And if you have like 3 thugs at once in the skirmish, it is very hard to kite all of them at once. And a 4th squad comes into play. Pretty strong unit force. But of course, Fodasseman with the position advantage, because he just has to defend. Therefore, his Forsaken are kind of well split. This Red Charger gets focused immediately because it was about to Nasty probably. At least the Nasty would have been very effective if it gets onto those Sunstriders here. Those Skeleton Warriors are activated, so these thugs cannot deal full damage and loot the power out of them, and those Forsaken are trying to deal a lot of damage. Sundra coming in to threaten the power well kick, but immediate activation of the motivated Forsaken here, getting a lot of damage onto the Sundra. Therefore, Killbuster immediately deciding that this attack is not going to succeed. But this Sundra, he gets out alive, so good decision here of getting those ones around, and he plays a second one, going for this power well here in the corner. And as you can see, Fodasseman does not have that much power to defend. Nasty surprise coming in here, but it does not kill the Sundra here, but it retreats because it's at 60 HP, and Frenzy Forsaken to defend this, while these Forsaken and Nox Troopers are trying to get this power well. Another power well pickup on this area here, and thugs to defend this position. I think double frenzy would be nice. Yeah, there it is, double frenzy. In the meantime, good idea of going for the main base, because if the Shadow player has to respawn with units, those will be bound and not available to fights over the place. This power well drops, which is pretty great for Fodasseman, honestly, and technically this position looks quite great for him. even though those thugs took a little bit of power here by looting. The position is still quite good. But yeah, this Nox Trooper will take some time up until it reaches the center again. And yeah, that will be quite problematic because 110 power not in the fight, and there are two Sundras going for this power on the bottom. We see those thugs looting a lot of power, which is very, very important because obviously Killbuster is very far behind in power because this Fodasseman was up a power for a very, very long time, and he was able to destroy one power as well. But at this point in time, this Sundra gets the ability up, this Sundra gets the ability up, and this power drops. In the meantime, finally this Nox Trooper arrived over here to get a lot of pressure onto this power. Done. Some Frenzied Forsaken end up dying. Yeah, this power also drops. So Fodasseman doing a very, very good job at like keeping up the pressure and trying to sort of snowball his early advantage. So the Scavenger here ends up getting picked off because there's a lot of cross-map action happening, and yeah, he realized this a little bit too late, but that happens. So Dread Charger probably preparing for a nasty surprise, as this would kill the Sundra, and therefore Killbuster tries to pick up a power whale to heal the Sundra, moved up with the Thugs to zone the Dread Charger a little bit to slow it down so it does not reach the Sundra for the nasty surprise, which would be always efficient because nasty costs 110 technically, and the Sundra kill would be worth it, especially if he gets to damage some of these other units. So double well pickup at this point in time. Both players on 2 power wells again, but obviously Fodasseman with more power into his total void pool because he was capable of kicking power wells a lot earlier, picking up extra power wells a lot earlier. But positioning wise, this still is an okay spot for Killbuster if you look at the map position, because he now has access to the center again, which is important. And right now we see tier 2 Shadow Nature against Fire tier 1 here. And right now Killbuster stays on tier 1 because he's behind in power, and therefore playing tier 1 versus tier 2 is necessary to stay in this game. Because if he takes tier 2 as well, it will be quite hard for him to deal with the early tier 2 that Shadow Nature can offer. Shadow Nature is very strong in the early tier 2, and Fodasseman also has a power lead, so it will be very, very strong at like getting those leads
Your forces are under attack.
to play. Right now this power drops, but Killbuster doing a very nice split attack with the Sundra here onto this power. So another power well trade. So he's not giving up the position, which is great. And it's still 3 powers against 3 powers here with a solid position on this map. And considering that those thugs are looting a lot of power over time, this power deficit gets smaller and smaller over time. A lot of Dark Elf Assassins are getting played, and at this point Fodasseman is technically in the position where he needs to make use of his tech advantage. Very, very good eruption, by the way, on this side here, killing a Nightcrawler and the Nox Troopers, and those Forsaken will be able to finish off those Dark Elf Assassins. This Sundra is getting rooted in the last second, so it does not hit the power here. Very, very important. Also showing the strength of Shadow Nature in this defense here, obviously. Rooting this area so the Sundra cannot reach the power over here. At this point in time, since Killbuster deflected this attack, as he also tried to apply some pressure over here, he ends up getting his tier 2 pickup. So this is a time window that Fodasseman wants to use, and he does a good job here at immediately attacking, because as long as he gets this power well kick before the orb is done, there are no Kobold Trick or Glacier Shell available to keep this one alive. And yeah, this power well ends up dropping. You could have frenzied those Nightcrawlers too to get a little bit more of extra damage, because they are gonna die anyways. But yeah, power well kick up, power well kick successfully in this case. But since all of these units end up dying, now tier 2 is up, Killbuster decides to go for a counter attack, which is really, really nice. Going again for the next power well here. And using this Frost Sources to get a lot of extra effective HP onto the Sundra here, which is very important because, as I mentioned earlier, this Ensnare roots plus MF Phantom and Dog of Assassin defense from Shadow Nature is quite strong. But with Ravage and another shield on the Frost Sorcerers, a lot of value and effective HP onto the Sundra, so it does not die right now. Beautiful freeze in this case to make sure this Shadow Phoenix does not crash dive, because it would have basically killed everything. Those Ghost Spears probably going for a nasty surprise, yes, but the Shadow Phoenix took some of the damage, so it did not hit all of the units. And now the Sundra is hammering down to the power, and at that point Killbuster gets to kill it. And like that is another power kick and another answer. Both players doing a great job at using their tempo advantages to continuously kicking the power well of the other player here. And also good job at trying to get to this power well over there, because that is damaged, and once the power Sundra is on top here, Killbuster can create a lot of like a certain time window where he can recover from the tempo advantage that he had to give up by sacrificing his army to kill or destroy that power over here. So this Sundra reaching the position over here, probably gonna get looted, yeah, but this Ravage obviously very, very effective as long as this one stays alive. But maybe double activation would be able to kill it over here. But at that point in time, Killbuster picked up another power well here, so he's at 3 power wells, while Fodasseman is at 2. So this Sundra gets deflected, and as long as Killbuster holds the position against this certain tempo lead, I think that Fodasseman has, yeah, he has more units and a little bit more power, but this was a beautiful lava field here. As this MF Phantom died, he is not completely effective, but yeah, trade onto the Storm Singer. Still, these Dog of Assassins not fully healed, so I think it was still effective to slow down the enemy. And yeah, the Storm Singers are applying a lot of pressure, obviously. And at that point, Fodasseman does not decide to rush this position. And we can see this. Killbuster is trying to take another power well here to stay up in the curve. Fodasseman does have more units, but he does not have the power with all of these units to pick up another power well. So at this point in time, he probably wants to attack here, and he needs to kill a power well at some point in time, because Fire Frost with Stormsinger spam and Lava Field can be very, very powerful against the Shadow Nature tier 2 in the late tier 2. And yeah, good unit split here, trying to avoid the crowd control onto all units, and a beautiful lava field here. Those Nightcrawlers die despite that heal hitting all of those ranged units. Trying to get the Skyfire Drake very, very early on, and that ended up working out quite well. But those ones, those Dark Officers are about to run out, so they cannot fully DPS onto this side fields here. Obviously played to counter those S units, and in the immediate route to protect the Dark Assassins on the side. So the Storm Singers are getting the picks onto the MF Phantom, and yeah, even though you have a lot of power in this case, the defender's advantage that you can get by using defensive Storm Singer spam is very, very large, and therefore matters a lot. So another Shadow Phoenix comes in because there are a lot of corpses, but with an eruption that could be destroyed, but does not erupt this. And with the lava field, all those corpses end up getting down, and this Shadow Phoenix revived at this point in time, and gets another crash dive with this power, which drops extremely low and goes down. So this Shadow Phoenix kind of changed the momentum again. It was like very, very close to go into the favor of Killbuster here, but Fodasseman with a very, very great Shadow Phoenix attack. I think Killbuster thought that he was able to kick the Phoenix without an eruption. He had the power to do so, but those Storm Singers were about to attack it. But there was a small miscalculation that costs him this power, and also loses him a lot of pressure in this situation. He needs to protect the power well again, and yeah, also makes sure that this Phoenix does not crash dive onto the tower. Very, very close here, but in this case another Phoenix almost capable of finishing that power. And it also revives, which is a lot of damage inflicted. So this Storm Singer dies. This will require another protect, and both Storm Singers will die if this one crash dives again. Gets to micro this one out of the area, but now those Shadow Phoenix is really turning the tides of the game again. And Another oink onto 3 units. Fodasseman doing a very great job at keeping up the pressure here. He got a very strong position here and he does not stop with the aggression here to increase the lead that he just built up again. But this power well ends up getting repaired again. And another Shadow Phoenix. Even though these ones are very effective, a single attack with a Storm Singer and an Eruption combined immediately kill this Shadow Phoenix if it is dazed. So it is still a very risky idea of attacking here. But in this game it definitely paid off. Yeah, is there another combo trick? Yes, there it is. But this Shadow Phoenix about to go in, and maybe with the Ghost Spear Nesty combined, not even necessary. The power ends up dropping here. Now those Ghost Spears obviously perfect to get rid of those Storm Singers. And the only thing that Fire Frost can do to counter those Ghost Spears effectively are the Side Fiends. And those ones are always getting looted and directly attacked by the ranged units like Dark Earth Assassins and the MI Phantom and all that stuff. And since Killbuster is down by 2 powers, Fodasseman ended up picking his tier 3 to finally close out this game. At this point in time, Killbuster decided to go for Mountaineer Punish. Technically, this is a smart choice because Mountaineer spam can definitely punish a greedy tier 3 pickup in a lot of situations, but at this point in time he's way too far behind to do that. A good freeze hitting the Ash Point, also disabling those Nightcrawlers from the Fodasseman. Another Eruption to disable the Fodasseman. If he gets to 400 HP, he is unable to use his ability. This Eruption a little bit too late here. So those Nightcrawlers end up getting to attack those Mountaineers, and those friendly Nightcrawlers deal a lot of damage. At that point, this Mountaineer drops, and this game is over, and Killbuster leaves. Still a very great game, very well played from both parties. I think it was very nice to watch with this non-stop aggression, power well trading, tempo lead going for another power well kick, and then the other player got the tempo lead, kicked another power well. It was like back and forth, and like Fodasseman had such a great position in the early tier 1, and Killbuster kind of made it work to get back into this game by trading a lot, getting a solid map position, and then I think Thug's looting played a very big role because I kind of checked the power values at the point where both players were at 4 power wells again. Killbuster was actually right about even, like maybe even slightly ahead if I remember correctly, in terms of the power level. And that is something that the Thugs generated because Fodasseman had those power wells for a much longer time, but the looter kind of equalized that. And therefore it was a very close and great game here. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this one too. And thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.